The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are those of the host/guest and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any of BXR entities and those they represent.
I've been doing so many people's shows that I really thought I was on somebody else fucking show this now. But I really did. I was like, you gonna fucking talk about it?
And me, of all people, too.
Right. I really thought I've been doing so many other people's shows the last couple of weeks. But welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. I'm your host, Nate. And we're here on this Friday with two late individuals, Bleu Waters and Monny. Monny's been showing himself lately because he got his nice little Marley braids in. So his Marley locks. So maybe he'll showcase his face today. And then maybe a little bit later on, we may have the appearance from Miss Sharon Nixon of Baltimore Fashion Week. Speaking of Baltimore Fashion Week, have you gotten your tickets yet? August the 15th, I will be debuting for my first time as a designer at Baltimore Fashion Week, doing the off the rack portion, and possibly next year. I've been invited back to come back next year to do a full line. So I'll be utilizing this sewing machine, and I'm gonna have to get me a couple of slave laborers because this shit is hard work. I'm tired of shit. I haven't been getting to bed till 3:30, 5 o'clock every morning. And I don't know how this is gonna work for the next 2 weeks. My show debuts on the 15th. That's a Monday. Get your tickets. Go to my pages, Instagram, Facebook, either the Artist Exchange or Bash Shop Blue Jewelry. Monty may play it, during the show, one of my videos during the show, advertising it. But you can go to thefashionumbrella.org, or if you go to the page, my QR code is up, and you can flash that and go get your tickets. The tickets are 4015. The 15 represents the 15 years of Baltimore Fashion Week. I just found that out yesterday. I also went past the space. We're at Baltimore Center Stage down on Calvin Street for the space. If you look at my Instagram page, you'll be able to see a little behind the scenes, and we went and walked the space yesterday. And it's gonna be great. I picked my song. Bleu, I think you'll really like it.
What's the song?
I can't tell you. Gotta come and see it. You gotta come and see it.
I'm gonna get my cans of tomatoes ready because if y'all try it, I know that we get the family.
It's a familiar. It's to you. It will be a familiar song. I'm just gonna say it's one of my favorite fashion movies. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh.
No, that's your favorite one. That's your favorite one. No, but I've been going through DJs, and sometimes, as an artist, you have to really focus on what your customers asking you for, but you can't focus so much that you lose your creativity. And I had a couple different ones, and I may have to talk to you about mixing the songs. I have 2 of the songs that I want to do, and I want to mix them together. So maybe you can point me in a direction of somebody that can help me.
I do know a couple of DJs.
Okay.
I do. One of them is one of my personal favorites. So I may let you borrow him. I might, because I know you people are.
You people? Who are you people?
You
I'm
people.
I'm one of the most professional people you know. Most
Well,
professional.
I didn't say. I never said you were unprofessional. I said I know how you people are.
That sounds very pointed, sir. Very pointed. But that voice that you hear, that big baritone voice that you hear in the back,
Was
in the
it? Was it?
background, that big
Oh,
baritone voice that you hear in the background is that of formerly host of and soon to be returning host of Cocktail Social, Mr.
I was
Blue.
about to say I've never. You said formally, like I was, like
I
I
mean, but
like.
it has been over a year. Let's
Okay.
just
So first of all,
actually a year and a half. Let's just be honest with ourselves.
I would like to welcome everyone to the Cocktail Social. I am your host, Blue Waters, and that is my co-host.
I mean, if you ever come back, I don't mind being a co-host.
So, with all that was going on, first of all, that pandemic took everybody out. It was beating on people's pockets. And now that they got COVID, monkeypox, and other stuff floating around in the air, I'm just going to go ahead on and find me a nice little cave tucked away someplace. And we're going to set it up where I just broadcast from the cave or something like that. Because I can't afford to be walking around with people with bumps and shit all over them. So that's just.
And as somebody who got chicken pox really bad, and I was out of school for over a month, I'm here to tell you, baby, it ain't what it's cracked up to be.
Not, I had chicken pox too.
And I never had, I mean, it's, from what I'm hearing, it's very similar to chicken pox. It's just more, just more. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I wasn't as uncomfortable as most people say they were, and I was really
Just like
young.
I said, it's super chicken pox.
Yeah, it's super chicken
the
pox.
bumps are so much bigger.
Yeah.
Chicken pox was uncomfortable for me. And so, and my thing is that I don't like mosquito bumps. First of all, I'm allergic to mosquito bites. So I don't like bumps of any kind.
Yeah.
No bumps, razor bumps, herpes bumps, contusion bumps. I don't like any kind of bumps. Keep your bumps and stuff to yourself. So
yeah, I wasn't as irritated, but what did happen to me as a result of having chicken pox, my skin changed completely. Just the dryness I used to have really healthy skin, and chicken pox like absorbed every nutrient out of my skin. But I don't wish that on anybody. And I had a couple students that had some kind of thing towards me this summer because I'm not a hugging person anyway, but I normally give passes to certain people, especially my students. But yeah, we're not doing that. Because I don't know, chicken pox, you could just rub elbows, bitch, and your body is full of bumps. So I'm not.
that and shingles and oh no,
I don't wish shingles on anybody, but I think shingles is at the top, then monkeypox, then chicken pox.
No, honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that I think shingles to be in comparison to chicken pox, other than a neuropathy, I think chicken pox and monkeypox are probably worse, in my opinion, in terms of discomfort.
Okay. Well, yeah, because it's more, shingles is more of just a surface rash, where chicken pox is more like a sore that festers.
Well, it depends. It depends. So it's kind of like
like a rash almost.
Yeah, it's kind of like where the chicken pox virus is located in your body in terms of where the nerve endings are. So it shows up there. So wherever it is.
But what it looks like is more like hives though. It doesn't come across like the bumps, the pus bumps.
But you can get contact dermatitis. So it's like even when you scratch it, you spread it. Yeah. That's the only thing about it that is crazy. But that's with all of them though.
That's why I say I didn't really do as bad with chicken pox because I was good at not scratching. So the only places I have it like is in my T-zone that you can even tell that I had chicken pox. Because I didn't get any like other scars and stuff on my body like some of my friends did. Some of my friends, they still have the scars because And I think, yeah, I gave it to most of my class because I was the first person to get it. But
Yeah, I don't think I spread them, but I know that I was definitely an itcher. I scratched on anything and everything that I could get my body across a tree. I would be rubbing on that. The banister, sliding down the steps, scooting across the floor. I was doing everything. I had oh, it was a horrible feeling. And I don't like the itch at all. At all.
My mother kept the, luckily it was warm weather, but she kept the AC on. So I didn't sweat as much. And perspiration sets off the itching thing. So if you're not sweating, then like I basically sit under AC for a whole month. And it was nice and cool. So I didn't really get irritated as much.
Your mom was smart. My mom had me out there dipping me inside. She was making
baths. Yeah. I took a couple oatmeal baths. But I really I didn't get it. I had to wear the mittens for when I first got it. Because she didn't, and it's really when the little bumps come. That's when you start spreading it. So it's safe to just keep your hands covered so you're not scratching and and after you get past the initial phase of it, it's just the scabbing over. You're waiting for it to scab over. But enough of that nasty ass talk, because that is disgusting to me. No monkeypox. Come on, y'all. Let's just keep your distance, though. Keep your distance. Keep your hygiene. Keep your nails closed. All those things play a factor in, these types of contact illnesses. Like this, keep your distance, please. Please.
Well, I think because of the type of virus it is similar to I believe it's similar to chickenpox. I think that you're going to see an influx of individuals getting it because it's a communicable disease. So it's like when you have a large population of individuals first, you can't discern, you can't tell because the symptoms it looks similar to something else. So you may think that you have the flu, you may actually think that you have COVID, and then you find out that you actually and then then the bumps will start to show up. So I think those are the secondary traits. I don't think those are the initial symptoms of monkeypox.
So
that's the biggest issue is that many people may not know or will be aware that this is what they've been infected with.
Because it looks really normal to maybe if you get allergies and you have real bad allergies or dry skin. So it's very similar to those on the onset. It's when it's left untreated that it becomes something much worse. Because I just got my first COVID scare throughout this whole thing. Now I got tested because I was doing other projects and I had to get tested as a preventative method. But this was the first time that I was called to say, you need to go get a rapid test. And it was early in the morning and I was getting ready for work. And it really, I was sitting there just looking at the damn test thing. It took me like 5 times to read all the directions and all that to even administer it. And I was so nervous that I did it wrong because you got to keep it still and keep it level. And I messed the first one up because I tried to put the swab through it and it flipped over. Just keep your distance, people. And it's still real. It's still real. Anytime like you said, proximity to other people, it's still possible to get it.
I think with any of these viruses, the difficulty with it is that in order you got to survive. So you have to go to work. And unfortunately, you can't, they opened the world back up. And so that means that people are going to, especially, I'm again sending my, a big shout out to all of my healthcare workers, all of those individuals and, feel that they have to interact with people and they are unable to do it from home. I take my hats off to you because you're in constant contact with individuals that may not be aware that they even have it because some people are asymptomatic, so they may not even show any signs or symptoms that they have any of the things. And so, I take my hats off to you. I wish that they would actually financially accommodate those individuals because they put their lives and their families' lives at risk all the time when they go to work. Doctors, nurses, janitors, the security, all of those individuals that work at, the hospitals or treatment facilities or any place with schools, I take my hats off to those individuals because, they're putting their lives at risk to serve others. So, just be careful. And as far as that mask and stuff is concerned, that's bullshit, because the reality is that you can have a mask on, but if you touch something, you touch a door handle, you start handling items and things, it's still, the virus will still be alive. So you still can contract it.
I'm really frustrated with the individuals that are still against everything. Like you said, the mask help, but if you're not practicing good hand washing and you're not protecting yourself after you touched all these surfaces, it's still possible. But I do want to say, if you have any healthcare workers in terms of family members and friends, just reach out to them because a lot of them have been, working throughout all of this, those essential employees, and without really a lot of protective measures outside of this, a few procedures. And a lot of them are getting sick. My sister was one of them, and she didn't get COVID, but her body's reacting to the stress buildup. And of course, my sister, like myself, we don't really share a lot of what we go through, but it's starting to manifest itself in other illnesses that's just coming out of the blue. So if you know anybody and you can help them, say babysit for them for a night or something, give them a giveaway or something, a go away or something. But
or you can have a cocktail, offer them a cocktail. That's what you do. Offer them a cocktail and just say, look, take a load off. Pour them, run them a hot bath, add some essential oils to it, turn down the lights, give them a moment, cook them a meal. That's what you do. Show them that you appreciate them for all of the things that they do. I know I appreciate it. I have my cocktail right here.
He'll turn any moment into a drunk hooker moment. Just any opportunity he gets. But let's start the show. So today I have a couple hot topics that I wanted to step on a little bit and talk about. One is P-Valley, and I'm not going to do a lot of spoilers because I know some people are, haven't really watched it yet. But we're going to talk about a lot of topics, a couple of the topics, mainly this whole heterosexual versus gay sexual fight that's going on. Also, I wanted to also touch a little bit on Marilyn Mosby here in Baltimore, our state's attorney, former state's attorney, who has done an incredible job, in my opinion, and she lost her Democratic election. Also, I wanted to touch a little bit on Will Smith. We actually have a clip that we're going to play from him. He's given his official, it wasn't an announcement, but apology to Chris Rock. And I think from this one, because it's minus anybody else speculating, he said it in his own words, his own way. And it really was, in my opinion, very heartfelt. And it was great. I like the fact that he took the time to do it versus trying to get it right out afterwards. He didn't give a lot of excuses. He stated what it was, where he's at. He also apologized to Chris Rock's family, his family. He killed a lot of the speculation that, the evil Jada Pinkett Smith is the cause of all of this. And he took his accountability and he extended that olive branch. And it's surprising, a part of his message was how Chris Rock's team responded to him that he's not ready to talk yet. And that's understandable. You just shit got slapped out of you and you trying to milk it for everything you want to milk it for. So, all that. But can we cue up that? He is. He milking this because he's talking around it on every other interview show that he's doing. But you can't go to the source and have the conversation with it. But hey, who am I?
Well, I mean, if somebody slapped the shit out you on national television, would you be ready to talk after a few months?
I'm a different person, so I would have had the conversation as soon as possible. I wouldn't have waited on the side of Chris Rock. I wouldn't have waited this long to. I don't have a problem with approaching someone or what is not conflict. I forgot the word. I don't have a problem with approaching someone. I can't remember the term, but I don't have a problem with that. So I would have said something. We would have talked that night.
We trying to for conflict resolution.
I would probably, I would probably, me personally, I would have a problem with forgiving.
Confronting the conflict.
Yeah, I would have a problem with forgiving. I mean, because me personally, I think that one, it shouldn't have ever happened. I don't give a fuck how upset you are. That doesn't give a justification for you to do that. That right there, honestly, if you had a problem, I probably would have respected it more if they were like, you know what, after the show, they squared up our bag and they started. But for me, it was,
you a fighting Negro, though. That's your issue. You're a fighting Negro. These are two peaceful individuals.
The show would not have, let me tell you, the show would have gone a completely different. Because they'd have been like, oh, Lord, go to black.
I kind of feel like this, though. Like he said in the apology. You want to play the apology first?
Can we listen to the apology? Yeah.
Okay.
Because Bleu just like to fight. His Negro ass. He just want to have a brawl. So he going to make the problem worse instead of better.
Yes. I'm sorry, but I'm not. No, thank you.
When I saw that pop up on the screen, I stopped what I was doing to watch it because it was crazy. I literally just watched it this morning.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So the apology just happened today?
I think it was posted this morning.
Okay.
Why didn't you apologize to Chris in your acceptance speech? I was fogged out by that point. It's all fuzzy. I've reached out to Chris, and the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk, and when he is, he will reach out. So I will say to you, Chris, I apologize to you. My behavior was unacceptable, and I'm here whenever you're ready to talk. I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I saw an interview that Chris's mother did, and that was one of the things about that moment. I just didn't realize, and I wasn't thinking, but how many people got hurt in that moment. So I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I want to apologize to Chris's family, specifically Tony Rock. We had a great relationship. Tony Rock was my man. And this is probably irreparable. I spent the last 3 months replaying and understanding the nuances and the complexities of what happened in that moment. And I'm not going to try to unpack all of that right now, but I can say to all of you, there is no part of me that thinks that was the right way to behave in that moment. There's no part of me that thinks that's the optimal way to handle a feeling of disrespect or insults.
And I am not an outwardly emotional person. I store a lot of those emotions, and it's sad that we are in a generation where having to publicly on your platforms apologize for being human and doing wrong is its requirements. And because nobody, even what I'm doing or what we're doing right now on this platform is not justified right now. Because clearly you have two historically peaceful individuals that are going through something that we all had to go through at some point in time privately. It's just now because of who they are and because of the platform that it unfolded on, we're here. But it really, like in the moment of it, I was still choked up when I sent that video clip to Monny to be able to play today, because it just, we're not even allowed to be human, or certain people aren't allowed to be human anymore. And we go through these waves of selective outrage when someone shows a human quality, not justifying it happening, but it is possible that somebody snaps. It's possible. But we don't give people that open doors. Go ahead.
I don't think that it's so much about it snapping. You know, I think that you're absolutely right that people are human, that we're going to be, that we're not always going to make the appropriate decisions, and we're not going to always think through our responses. We're not going to always, have that moment. I think but on the flip side, you have to understand that it's human for you for it to take a moment for you to actually say, I want to forgive you. I think that you can't say, well, just because I had a moment where I went and I mentally broke and I was in duress and I just had this, I lashed out, that you automatically have to forgive me because I
don't think that that's what he is, in my opinion. I don't think that's what he's asking for. But even before we get to the forgiveness, it's so many opinions that go in between these two individuals.
Well, I think the reason why is because we're in a social media platform where everyone's opinion now is out there. They can post their opinions. They can say how they personally feel about things. And I think that that moment triggered so many responses, because it was, first of all, it happened in a space where you would never have thought that would happen from that individual to that individual. You never would have thought that, oh damn, out of nowhere. And it was so shocking because individuals there didn't even realize that it was real. They were actually, is that a part of the show? Because a lot of their responses were like, well, at first I thought it was a part of the show. It wasn't until much later that it was processed. No, this was a real assault. But then we live in an era where we're trying to get individuals to understand, or to try to understand, that they don't have to respond with physical, a physical response when they're angry. We're seeing a lot of that where people feel some kind of way about something and their response is, I have to attack you physically. I have to do something to harm you physically. We're in this era where that's becoming normal. And so when you see this play out with these two individuals, you say, oh my goodness, yeah, these are humans. He's had a lot of stuff going on in his relationship with his family and his private life that he may not have been addressing. But the fact of the matter is that you got to look at Chris Rock. We don't know what he's been going on with in his private life, with his family. And clearly there was some...
When you say that, that's when I call bullshit, though, because he's been going around the country talking about it.
Right.
Who?
Chris Rock. Right. And every comedy show, and everyone he starts his comedy shows off with talking about that situation. So
it's weird. It's weird because he said, one of the things that Will Smith said in the apology was he was really close to the brother. I didn't hear him say I was really close to Chris. I heard he was really close to
Tony Rock.
Brother. And I'm sure they had, because when this happened, people was Googling all the photos of those two individually with Jada Pinkett had together. So my whole point was the way people outside of the two of them magnified it. All of the comedians they have been saying some really cruel things, not even about Will, but about Jada, about their family.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're a comedian and you want to back another comedian. Like there's some awful things that the brother threatening to beat him up. Now, if you just close with this person,
violence on top
you
of
could have
violence
been
on
the
top of
person,
violence on top of violence.
he could have been the person to bring them two together privately instead of you
The
jumping
thing
on
about
the
it is,
train.
I think that that's you're looking at it from. I think that's a wonderful way that and kumbaya and all that other stuff. But someone attacks someone that's in your family. I know me personally. If someone was to go up and slap the shit out of my sister, it's not going to be a conversation. I'm gonna beat the shit out of somebody, and that's just the way.
But are you speaking of in that moment though? We're talking about now months later.
Right.
I think that.
It's still going on.
I think that that's when we're not looking at the fact that for Chris Rock, he just got, first of all, he's never going to ever be able to live that down because he got slapped, open hand slapped on national TV, international.
Right, but in the mission of everybody talking about showing a different side to this, wouldn't them coming together to make up be a different side to this?
Well, it would be
different.
But I think that what people are doing is giving Will a pass for his behavior, and
I don't think people are doing that at all. I think the exact opposite is happening.
No, I don't think Will should get a pass. I don't think that you can just say, I'm sorry for doing that, I slipped up, and then I should say, oh, you know what, I should apologize to you. No,
but I don't think
apology. Or I should feel like way about that.
But even in this small statement, it does not look like Will is trying to find a way out of this. It's just, I know I messed up.
Just
we
like what
know
you're
each
saying,
other.
Or he would have waited until he did have that opportunity to talk to Chris first. He put this out before he even had the chance to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was about waiting or waiting for Chris Rock to acknowledge it. He had to do this.
Because people, and what I see is there are a lot of people that still love Will Smith. I'm one of them. And I don't want to see his career eliminated or tarnished.
And then now you're finding out that this didn't even affect his career because he just got offered a $35 million contract.
Yeah, but because there are people who still who understood what happened.
That. I don't think it will take away from Will being a good artist. I don't think it'll take away from his talent.
He will, though. But what about his wife? What about his family? Because people didn't go off on him directly. They went right to Jada. I mean, people said some very unhealthy things, like very unhealthy. She's been a public bitch, like literally out their mouths.
So see, this is the thing. I think that you're not taking into consideration all of the stuff that has transpired before this happened.
What transpired? Her having a red table talk? That's what transpired?
No, the whole affair with August Alsina, the whole situation.
But that's personal, though. That's not their business.
With the slap. But the fact is that there is information. They have a narrative about Will and Jada that is prior to this whole incident.
And that's the problem right there. When you say that word, they have the narrative, meaning the public has the narrative on someone else's marriage that they were not involved in the marriage vows.
Right.
But the thing is that
when you are divorce, nothing. So nobody should have an opinion about it.
When you are a celebrity, you are putting all of your business out there.
No, that's not necessarily true. That's not true.
No, what I'm saying is for them, no, really, you're under scrutiny, even if you don't want to be.
You may be under scrutiny because that's you chose to be in the public eye, but it's still not for you to consume and then to make it a remark about. Because if your life ain't perfect, you shouldn't be remarking on nobody else's life.
I mean, but that's in a perfect
world. Especially when you ain't got no husband.
Yeah, but that's wonderful. That is a wonderful mindset. Unfortunately, with social media and everything, where everyone can blast an opinion about.
I'm not talking about social media. I'm just talking about people and their identities of themselves in the first place. When you ain't got no husband, let's not comment on my marriage because you can't even find one.
And it was, and then I understand what the bigger image was. It was between Will and Chris Rock. And it probably went deeper than that because they probably already been, and I'm not going to speculate because I'm doing what I say people should not be doing. But what I noticed, the backlash, it went straight in the same mouths. I saw all women podcasts. I saw women who typically are all for women and embracing us and eliminating anything that will separate. Go after Jada as if she snapped her fingers and said, "Get him, Will."
But
Like,
no,
it's
but I'm gonna say
ridiculous.
this. Hold on, you're only looking at. There was just as many individuals that was supportive of what he did. There was just as many people that was like, you know what?
Yeah, but it wasn't. Even if they was in support, it wasn't like that bitch Chris Rock. That baggy ass Chris Rock. It wasn't none of that.
There was a lot of narrative that was like he got what he deserved. There was a lot of that was just as much.
But it wasn't. They didn't attack his wife. They didn't attack his family. They didn't attack any of those people.
No, they just attacked him. They said
what
they said
the person involved in it. The person involved in it.
But the fact is that, so for me, this is what it is. They had history, apparently, and my thing is that with Chris Rock, for those individuals that said he got what he deserved, it was like, you kept joking about this isn't the first time you did something, and it gets old, and this is what you deserve. So, no, they might not have said, well, you know, but the difference is that Will and Jada, their relationship, their family has been under public scrutiny for years.
So has Chris Rock. Chris Rock is known for cheating on his wife. They didn't bring his wife into it.
But the difference is that he doesn't, his approach to it, their approach to it is completely different. Chris Rock isn't first of all, Chris Rock isn't, to me, as relevant as Will Smith and Jada Smith. So I don't think
I agree with that.
So no one cares whether or not Chris Rock is cheating on his wife, because to me, they were like, you know what? Even as a comedian, he, to me, isn't like one of those top tier comedians. I think this puts him in that position because of the experience that he had. But I don't think that when you talk about relevancy,
Bleu, because we me and Nate have already talked about this until we blew in the face. But but the question to you is, what is the part of what Will Smith that was the wrong part?
Right.
What you mean?
Inside of the slap, going up to the slap, what was the wrong part of the action? Was it just the slap itself, or was it the narrative behind the slap?
I think for me, I think he had an opportunity to process.
After you talking about now with this part, with this apology, now he's had a chance to process, or that he didn't have a chance to process, and that's why the slap came before him having a conversation with Chris Rock?
No, I think that the reason, for me, the way that it's just the appearance of it all, I think that in the beginning, I don't think that it wasn't like, you know, just the way that it appeared, the way that transpired. I think that he didn't have to do that. I think that there was a moment where he was like, you know what, I don't have to do this. I can sit this one out. But he chose to go do that.
But I think the opposite. I wonder if he wanted to do that, had the notion to do it, then did it, and thought it was going to be a different reaction.
No, I
really see it even outside of those two things. I don't think he was thinking at all. I think sometimes
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. He didn't know that he was going to do it. It was just a reaction, but he thought when he did it, when he sat back down, he thought he was going to get a different reaction from
because
the public.
I don't think he realized where he was in that moment. I don't think he realized until after where he was, and not giving him any excuses. But I've been in situations where not on public TV with billions of people watching, but I've had moments where I've clicked and I've gone the fuck off on somebody.
Yeah,
I didn't care. I thought it was a defensive act. I thought it was a defensive act of his wife, and period. That's what I thought.
Without speculating, I don't even think it was that. Go ahead, Bleu.
I don't think it was. I think that for me, it was just audacious. It was arrogant, and I think he did that because he felt that he could do that. And I think that I understand what you're saying. I don't know.
Who will put that much on the line in a moment like that? And the fact that I'm not just directed towards you you've never seen him do something like this.
But
yeah,
we get into this. You don't know what he's.
So this is the thing.
We don't. That was my point. We don't know.
Like. No, but my thing is that even with Will Smith, even when he was with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, there is a narrative about him that there is a narrative that precedes this event. And I think that what happens is that when you see it come and play out in front of you, you say, "Oh shit!"
That he hits people, though. Is that the narrative that he hits people?
That he's an asshole and that he's arrogant and that he's an asshole. Absolutely.
It was one word.
Anybody that's about their business arrogant.
Wait, it was one word that you used. You said arrogant. You said narrative. You said narrative. That's something that outside people create. That's not something that's coming from you. And I think some of the people that do like 10 toes down support him, they read his book. So a lot of these things that you're speaking about was unfolded in the book, and it has a start time to it. You know, his relationship with his dad. I'm
talking about the narrative from the individuals that work with him. It's
that
not
one
about
person. That one person that worked with him.
That one person. It was not just one person.
That's what
that was the one person. Nobody else has said anything negative about him other than his ex-wife. But she didn't say arrogant. She said he was too focused on his work. Jada said the same thing. I haven't heard bounds.
And that's what I said. That's where that arrogance thing comes from. Anybody that's so focused and worried about how they're going to be perceived in their work is going to be called arrogant.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I get everything you said, though. I get it, but it's the word narrative. Narrative is something that people who don't have all the information create and fill in the missing pieces and create a narrative. That word makes me a little.
I think you create a narrative based off of your experiences, and I think that people's interactions with him help them formulate their narrative of him. No, they may not go home with him at night, but the reality is that people base their interactions off of what they're dealing with in the here and now. They're not going to take into consideration what you're dealing with when you're at home, which is why a lot of times people need to get the backstories. It's unfortunate that he may have had all of I mean, but you're not going to read his book when you're on. Nobody's thinking about, oh yeah, it's his book. That's what's the reason why he slapped the shit out of this man was because.
No, I'm not saying read. You just said they need to get the backstory. I said read the book.
No,
because me reading the book, that moment made so much sense to me as somebody who read the book before that happened. And the problem is a lot of these people who are adding to the narrative that's being created by the same people who don't have all the information and who would never read this book.
Just because you had a fucked up situation doesn't justify you going up and
doesn't.
It doesn't.
I don't take that away from. I don't take that away his responsibility away from him at all.
And I don't think that I think that if Chris Rock decides that he wants to capitalize off of it, that's his prerogative.
You know, it is. And it is, but that's why I said that, because ever since the slap happened, even the day after, his next comedy performance was about, he had a lot of material about the slap, which is fine. That's your prerogative. You are the victim in that slap.
Yes.
Ain't nothing against that. But if somebody does reach out to you, I don't know if it's okay for you to slap the hand away to say, I'm not ready.
Yes. You don't, I think that the narrative, I think people need to understand is that when you burn bridges, you don't have to say, I have to help you rebuild a relationship. I didn't burn
And I don't think that was the intent. I don't think that it was even the intent, but I don't know if it was okay for you not to hear me out though either.
Who, me?
No. What Monny is saying, the idea that you are talking about this around the country.
Yes.
And he's about to team up with Kevin Hart, and they're about to do a joint comedy show together.
So what I'm saying is
talking about this to everybody, and that's my individual issue with people in general, and I've had that issue. You're willing to talk about this to millions of people, except for that one person.
Because he doesn't have
want
to
keep playing the victim card. But he's not willing to at least. But nobody said they have to go back to where they were. But you're willing to talk about this to every single body and help that narrative. So for me, I look at this as you don't want to be the person that cuts Will's career off, but you go in the background, pull some levers. So your audiences, so your friends, the fact that what's her name? The comedian, Wanda Sykes, she called Will Smith a vile individual. And I was like, he slapped this man one time, and now he's a vile individual.
So my thing to you, I understand what you're saying, but if someone came out, look, my thing is, if someone walked up to you right now and slapped the shit out you, what would your response be?
I'm gonna slap the shit out of them.
Why?
Because you just slapped the shit out of me.
Oh, so you ain't gonna think about the fact that this man is hungry and you over there drinking a cup of soda and shit like that, and you sitting in there?
No.
Tomorrow, if he brings
after the fact,
narrative,
bitch, you was thirsty. Now you're thirsty and laying on the ground.
So my thing is that this man didn't. So
when
my
he wake up tomorrow,
we're thinking
I'll think about.
I'm thinking about this. Chris Rock's response to his way of getting his revenge,
and that's fine. That's fine to me. Just understand. And this is real life application. For me, it's real life application. So you also have to understand that what you're doing is further deepening the problem. So now you're equally as responsible for this blowing up. You're no longer just a victim.
Because the person that's responsible for even being here is Will Smith.
No,
we're talking about the timing of when somebody should accept an apology. That's what we're talking about right now.
I know we're talking
when somebody should accept an apology.
I think it's when a person is ready to accept the apology.
And I agree with that.
I think that Chris Rock is in
a
position.
That's what I'm getting at, though. Since we're talking, that's why I said it's about the timing of when somebody should accept your apology. But it wasn't even about accepting the apology. It was about the apology being offered. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to accept it.
What he said,
but you could have listened.
Right, but Monty, I don't even. When he's ready to accept an apology, if that's a year from now, that's fine. But my issue is here's what I was saying though, Nick. Before you even say that part, here's what I'm saying: the apology could have been offered. You don't have to accept it. They could have even ended the phone call at that moment. Like, I just wanted to extend my apology. You don't have to accept it right now. I understand that you're not ready, but I just wanted to put that in your ear. Give me a call when you're ready to talk. That's how it sounded from what he said in that apology.
See, now,
how it sounded like he did it.
If I was Will, and now that I've done this video, the issue's dead to me. I don't want to talk to you about it.
And he has that right. He could do that. He could say, okay.
But I'm saying on Chris Rock's part, it was a missed opportunity.
It may have been, but I think people aren't taking into consideration where he is sitting with this. You know,
at the comedy club, making money every night.
That may be
and
his
laughing
way
about it. And going on Kevin Hart's show to laugh about it some more.
But some
it's
people
not really affecting him. I really don't believe it is.
I do. I think that a lot of times, because you may see him laughing about it, you're not taking into consideration that may be his way of processing the shame, the embarrassment, or the fact, all the other feelings that may be underlying that. I think that just because he's making a joke about it, you have to understand, comedians make a joke of, they make a lot of jokes about some of the stuff that is, we would look at it like, that's fucked up.
But my issue is, we're willing to see that. But we're not willing to see that Will Smith in his apology said he feel like he disappointed his fans, the Oscar community, his peers, his family, Chris Rock, and his feelings of disappointing someone is a trigger to him because he's so quick to please everybody. I don't understand how we're willing to see Chris Rock's perspective, but you're not willing to see how this hurting even Will Smith. And
I don't think that's the case. I think no, I don't think that's the case. I think people do hear him. I think people do understand where Will is coming from. I just think that what people are saying is, despite the fact that you may be saying these things and that you feel this way, that doesn't mean that Chris Rock has to be like, oh, let's kumbaya and skip down the road, or he should be willing to hear him out. He doesn't have to do that.
No. And I'm saying, if it takes Chris Rock 5 years to do this, what is hurting me is, one, that he feels more comfortable talking to millions of people about this, or in front of millions of people.
But his audience, so the thing about it is, for you, to me, it is when he's talking to it in front of millions of people, that's him trying to have some sort of saving grace. Because there's there's millions of people that say, you just let this grown ass man slap the shit out you on public TV and you ain't do shit about it. So for him, I think his response to that is, let me make a joke about it. Let me make a joke about the fact why I didn't do these things or what was going on in my mind. Because there are a whole lot of individuals whose narrative was, well, yo, you look like a punk on TV. And so my thing for him is that when he goes in front of these audiences, he may be capitalizing off of it, but he has to, every time he's talking that story, he has to go through the fact that, well, damn, what shoulda, woulda, coulda. What would you have done had you did this thing differently? What could you have done had you, responded differently to this? So I think that that's his method of dealing with the fact that, well, he could have went about it a completely different way. He may not have even did the joke. Hello?
I'm listening. I thought I know.
Did he just walk off the set? Did he Whoopi Goldberg me?
He did just
I don't give a
fuck. he did just walk off.
He just walked off.
I know this is one isolated incident, but part of my journey in life is trying to, one, figure out how I can, as an individual, get through stuff like this, not over it, but get through stuff like this, and then help other people like myself to get stuff. Because I saw a lot of myself.
And that's where I was coming from with what I was saying, though, on the basis of maybe not, you don't have to accept the apology, but for the life of everybody that has now been involved in this, you could have heard them out.
I think that, but
because we're looking for resolution. We're looking for resolution in our Black community because of this.
I think for Chris Rock, I think we may be looking for resolution. I think,
Sharon
but that's the part.
Did she miss the P-Valley conversation?
No, we haven't gotten there yet. That's going to be the next conversation.
I think for this situation, I think that it's all about where people are with the healing. And I think that people heal differently. Some people heal quicker than others. And I think that in this situation, I think what we're witnessing is Chris Rock's method of healing. It may not necessarily be understood by everyone else, but I think this is his way of addressing it and dealing with it. Whereas with Will, he took a moment back. He said, look, I'm gonna take some time to myself. I'm gonna think these things out. I'm gonna come up with this. I'm gonna have this apology. I'm gonna extend an olive branch. I don't expect him to say anything or I don't expect him to come to me and say, oh, you know what, let's hug it out. But I just want him to know that this is where I am and this is where I'm sitting with it.
That's what the sentiment and what he actually said in the apology.
And that's really good. And I think that's just really big of him. I think we as individuals, where we are, we try to say, well, this is an opportunity. This is the opportunity for Chris to bury it and everything like that. But that requires some healing. And I don't think he's at that point yet. And I think when
I wasn't even looking at that, because I was hoping that whatever apology that would have came out of this wouldn't have been public. That would have been between them two. Because I think if that had been, this video that we just saw would have been totally different. One, if he had the chance to talk to Chris Rock, it probably wouldn't even have happened had he had the opportunity to talk to Chris Rock. He had to put this out because he couldn't give him the apology he wanted to give him.
And I think in addition to that, public opinion has played so much of a role.
And that's why he did it publicly.
Advertisement and people keeping or retaining their careers. That now this is my problem, that someone has to do it this way, because we didn't know about the call before he just said something, and he probably made that call a few months ago or a month or so ago.
And as I was
Okay.
watching the video,
I just think that
I
we're at this
steady
stage
kept saying in my mind, did I need this? Did I need this? I didn't need this. This wasn't
but
for me.
I think
This was for one of the audience of one, and that was Chris Rock.
but I
That was
think
the only person that was for.
for the
But then
same reason we would like to see Chris Rock accept that olive branch. I think this is a part of the process of forgiveness that as lay people we don't have.
Right.
We don't.
That's why I
call
said
each
he
other
had
up
no
when there's a
other
problem.
no other recourse but to put this video out because he reached out and got in basically, tantamount to getting his hand slapped away. I don't want to hear that right now.
But unfortunately, that individuals like Will Smith feel as though they have to do these things. Will Smith has been in a closet. I should have just said it that way. Will Smith has been very private. Will Smith has been very private up into this like a couple years ago. And he's now been going through this journey where he wants to be more transparent. In my opinion, I'm just gonna skip right over it. In my opinion, it looks as though he's trying to be more transparent, but he's gotten caught up in the way that these people have. The same way Felicia Rashad feeling like she has to protect her friend Bill Cosby and so on and so forth. But I really feel like it's just unfortunate that this is how, especially in the Black community, we handle each other. Yeah, he slapped the shit out you in front of millions of people. It should not matter that it was the Oscars, because if it was the Soul Train or BT, we would have just laughed it over.
No, we wouldn't have. And that's the part.
I kind of think we would. I think we would have thought it was a skit. We would have thought it was a skit.
No, because
the only difference is that it was a whole bunch of white people in the room.
Then they actually thought it was a skit.
Yeah, people really
right.
They didn't think it was serious until after people was like, no, that was a real situation. So my thing is that even here they thought it was a skit. But my thing is that no, it's not. You can't just go up to somebody because you feel in a kind of way. I didn't think it was a skit because I knew the history of him and Chris Rock. See, I didn't. And so for me, I thought it was okay. That could be easily a part of the skit, because the way the way that Chris Rock responded was like, yo, I just got the shit slapped out of me by Will Smith. I thought that was like, oh shit, that was a part of the act. It didn't dawn on me like, oh no, that was a real slap and that was a real situation, because it wasn't until after when Will Smith was like, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth, that I was like, is he serious? And that to me
wasn't no joke. I knew. That's how I knew it was no joke.
That's when I knew it wasn't a joke. It's not okay for someone to just say, I'm gonna slap the shit out you for any reason.
It's not. Well, how many of us have said that? I don't know.
That's what I was about to say. How many? I mean, we also can't be hypocrites in the situation. We also can't be hypocrites in the situation because there's plenty of people that had only this much on the nerve left that would got slapped in a heartbeat on one of these streets.
Even with that, when you on these streets and you go up to somebody and you slap the shit out of them, and you may have I know me, I have a chip on my shoulder, but I know also, if I go around here slapping the shit out of people, I have to expect to get slapped the fuck back.
But it's usually not going to be. It's not even going to be that kind of situation. It's always going to be your last straw.
But I'm trying to understand. It's puzzling me. So what if, let's just say, Will Smith was validated in being angry and upset, not for slapping him, but being angry and upset. You don't feel like somebody keep picking after your wife and just. You had Laverne Cox ask this lady about a fucking entanglement on a red carpet. You had all these comedians already joking about your wife. You already know how fragile she is in this moment. However, we never are able to see the opposition's point of view over ours. We've all said to somebody, and a couple of us have actually did it, bitch, say something else and I'm gonna slap the shit out you. And that's what he did. He actually did it. He did something
and that's cool.
Actually did.
I'm okay with that. See what you're saying? What I'm saying to you is this. It's cool that he did what he did, but it's also cool that Chris Rock responds the way he responds. Just because, you don't get it.
But that's what I mean. We got to also admit, though, it was a 50-50 difference. There was a 50-50 where people were on Will's side for doing it and people that were not on his side for doing it. And I just so happened to be, I fell on the side that I'm okay with this. I was okay.
If you slap the shit out of somebody, you can't go around and say, I can slap the shit out you and I'm not going to expect to get slapped back.
I think that's the narrative that people are trying to put out there. I don't think for one moment Will has felt, and I'm just giving my opinion, I don't feel that he at any moment said this was okay.
Another question.
I can see just in him giving these responses. That's one response. It's still fucking with him.
Here's the question. If it had turned into a complete fight, if this had turned into a complete fight, where would you have standed? Both of you. That was a question for both.
It would have still been very sad.
It would have been justified on both ends. I mean, my thing is that he told a joke, it didn't go over well. So the person got offended by the joke and slapped the shit out of him. That was what happened. What if
it was deeper than the joke, though? What if it was deeper than the joke? And we're looking at the.
No, we can't do that. It can't be that. It's just what's at the moment. I'm not reading into what happened before then. It's just what happened.
No, but see, that's not to me. That's not fair. That's not a fair move. Because we can blame the reaction, but we can't blame any of the things that's been piling up. And that Jenga, you pulled the wrong block. Jenga.
But you can't sit back and start feeding other stuff into it. The situation was
it's not other stuff. It is what has been piling up. I get what you're saying, Bleu, but it's hard in these situations to not look at both sides. It's very hard. You don't get to keep picking at me, and when I slap the shit out you, I don't get to say all these times I did not slap the shit out you is irrelevant.
So my thing
whether
to you
it was comedy or not, isn't it still a piece of bullying? Whether it was comedy or not, wasn't it still a piece of bullying?
It's still bullying. I don't give a fuck how funny it is.
Okay, and I'm okay with that. What I'm saying to you is, just because you slap me doesn't mean I can't slap you the fuck back.
And that's, to me, if that would have happened, I wouldn't have been.
I actually would have kind of been okay with that if he would have defended himself.
But see, I wouldn't have felt anything differently about Chris Rock had he retaliated. I wouldn't have felt, oh my God, Chris, why would you do something like that?
But you're saying that, this is his. So my thing to you is, just because he didn't swing with his fist doesn't mean he's not swinging in other ways. His way of swinging or his way of retaliation is, I'm not going to do this way. I'm going to do this way.
And I get that. But I got his strategy from the beginning. I'm not gonna talk about this. I'm gonna let everybody else talk about it. I'm gonna let public opinion stir the pot and make him lose all his shit. I ain't gotta say nothing. I saw that as his strategy, and I don't feel either way about it. It is what it is. But for me, like at this point, as Black people, we gotta stop choosing this fucking way. Like, get over stuff. Get through it. Like, really get through shit. Stop letting shit fester. Like really, like at some point they were attacking Will's children. They were attacking his wife. Like, at some point, why do we keep playing these toxic African American games with each other?
I think we're seeing, and that's fine that you say it that way. They were attacking him, but I think just as many people were attacking Chris Rock.
But I'm just saying in general, just why do we keep, on either side, why do we keep playing these toxic ass games with each other? Like, it's very childish. It's unbelievable to me that in 2022 we're still doing this.
So
like we're picking a side. We're choosing a side instead of.
I think what happens is that this is my opinion, and this has always been. I'm always about my opinion. So it doesn't reflect anybody else's. But for me,
I put that up in the beginning of the show. You don't gotta worry.
Yeah, it's a disclaimer already. Bitch, you gonna get sued by yourself. It's a disclaimer.
So no, but for me, I think when you open yourself up to situations like this, that's the real problem. And the thing about it is that I hear everything you're saying, and honestly, I understand where you're coming from. My way of But what I'm saying is this, is that had that door not been opened in the beginning, and yeah, it could have been, there were a lot of things that led up to that moment. But the fact of the matter is we got to speak to that moment in itself, just that moment. Had that not happened, we would not be here. And I think that Will just has to accept the responsibility that
and I think he has. I think he has, and I think
and he has to accept.
Will. But we have to stop. But we have to stop negating the shit that got us to this point also. The backstory is just as relevant because had you not continuously made jokes about this man's wife, he would not have had to lose it. So we can't negate that either. And I really get the fact that in this moment, Will Smith did something to Chris Rock. I get that.
A G.I. Jane joke is that serious?
You said what?
A G.I. Jane joke is that serious?
But it wasn't.
It is when it's dealing with it when you're making this joke about her affliction.
But it wasn't about. It wasn't just about that joke. And I think the fact that people are only able to see that, and they're not able to see that they may have had a conversation outside of this. Nobody.
Or it could be the fact that she has been dealing with this affliction all her life, and it's sensitive.
But I don't. But
and that is the conversation. With the that is the conversation that they had.
But what if it's not even about her alopecia? Because he may have not even known about that. It's just the fact that out of all the people in this fucking audience, you fuck with me. You're fucking with me. Like I already told you, stop it. And bitch, you gonna keep picking.
Monny.
I'm looking at you.
That's what I'm saying. You gonna keep picking with somebody. This is the first time this man has been back for years, and you know how important this day. I'm not gonna fuck with him because this is his day. I'm not. But the next show, bitch, I'm coming for you. But maybe just figure out better ways. And everybody kept saying Chris should have read the room better. Go fuck with some of them white people. Why are you gonna mess with the black couple that's sitting right up front that's here? Finally, this man has been given a chance to win this award. Finally. I'm not gonna fuck with him on his night. But the next night, bitch, I got you. The next show, I got you. But not this one. I ain't gonna fuck with you. I know this.
And you know what? I also think of the joke itself, right? Was it appropriate for that setting with so much hypersensitivity in Hollywood?
But the joke was what it was.
A comedy club, yes. A comedy setting, yes. But that room right there with all those documentaries on that was up for an Oscar on hypersensitivity, I don't know if that was that room for that. I don't know. I didn't think it was funny. I really didn't. So,
but understand whether the
but I don't think Chris Rock is funny in itself. So
no, Will Smith thought it was funny. He laughed. He laughed.
I'm just saying, does that laugh have to be like, yes, bitch, this bitch is bald headed? Like, yes, bitch.
You're adding your 2 cents. He laughed. He smiled. He laughed at the joke. It was not until he saw that he read her.
It is so weird to me that people only can see the wrong party as one flat dimensional character.
No one is saying that. I never said a right or wrong. See, that's the thing. I'm not saying a right or wrong. I'm saying a fair. I'm saying that just because you're empathizing and you're sympathizing with Will Smith, that's that's well, fine and good. But the fairness of it is.
I'm not. I'm just when we do the pile-on, when it's the pile-on method, and for me, my perspective is coming from people. People eliminated Will from being the culprit here and went right after Jada. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm seeing here. And that's the puzzling part for me.
It's like you just said about the empathizing and sympathizing. If you take that same layer of what you just said, we just did for Will, and take that to Will for what he did for his wife, it's the same thing. He empathized and sympathized with what her facial expression was during the joke, because she did not find it amusing.
She did, and she didn't. My thing is this. So my thing is, did she get up and slap him?
No,
Right, but why would she
But
have?
again,
Hold on,
but
it
again,
offended her.
Jada,
So
but
why did he feel he had to go
Jada's
do that?
mental stability
Right, but why would
is
she
not
have
in
if
question
she
here.
has a
No, but the
man
thing
that
is
would have
that if
defended
it
her
offended
against
her,
another
my
man?
thing is that y'all, everyone is saying, oh, it offended her. It didn't offend her.
No,
because
no,
she had
no,
to go
no,
to
no,
Christian.
no. For me, I'm not even addressing how
I
Jada
didn't say it
felt.
offended her either.
I
don't
am
know how she felt.
addressing
I just
how
said she wasn't
Will
amused.
took it. We have to eliminate, because Jada is not involved in this.
How
Other
his
than her
response,
sitting there.
my thing is this, that's on
I
him.
just said she wasn't amused. I
It
don't know if she was
is, but
offended or not. I just said she
that's
wasn't
exactly,
amused.
And the,
but
and the
that's
fact
exactly
is
what
that
I'm saying.
what you're saying is what you're saying to me is that okay, the way the way he responded was the way he responded, first of all and foremost. But my thing is this: she was the one who was offended. He
Well,
did
How
not.
do we know that though?
We
But how
don't
do
know
we
if she
know
was
that?
offended. I just said she wasn't amused.
How do we
I don't know if
know?
she was offended or
Okay,
not.
so if she wasn't amused and she sat her ass there, he could have sat his ass there.
But
He didn't have to get out of
but
seat.
that's expectations though. Expectations are wrong.
But that's what I'm saying. But we also
they're not Siamese
and that's what we were just
twins.
talking about in the beginning of this conversation, that it wasn't just that situation. It's an accumulation of stuff that made him go off.
It doesn't
It
matter.
does matter.
It
that
don't. It doesn't matter.
Every time I see you, I say, "Hey, bitch, hey, you bitch." At some point, you be like, "Look."
And you don't like being called a
Enough is
bitch.
enough.
Yeah, at some point you're gonna get tired of it and be
Right.
like,
You at some
I'm
point, you
gonna say, but
we have
my
to
thing
stop.
is that
I see that
before the
within our
show,
Black community too
before
much.
the
We
show.
bully people, and then when a person retaliates, they are wrong for retaliating this time.
No, what you're saying is what you're trying to say is it's wrong for Chris Rock to respond the way he's responding. He don't
No,
have to.
no. I didn't say that. I'm not even dealing with the way he responded. I'm dealing with the fact that this is not the first time, and Chris Rock is not the first individual. It just so happened because he could have knocked the shit out of Laverne Cox, and we would have been in a whole different space with that right now. He could have knocked the shit out of her on that red carpet.
Again, but who is he? Why is he doing that?
But I think but that's why I said it's not even just about Chris Rock. This man, this whole season, you have eliminated the great work that this man has done in this season, and everything has been about a nigga trying to get album sales.
What Laverne Cox's statement was to Jada. It wasn't to him.
But so was Chris Rock's. Chris Rock's was not
exactly. So listen.
But he was sitting there.
So listen.
Her every time.
What I'm saying is that the individuals that the comments were directed to, their responses was not.
But as my friend, we always going out, and people call me out my name. At some point, you will say, "Nate, what the fuck? You ain't good." Okay, so I got you. And at some point, you will stand up. I would hope, as my friend, at some point, if I'm not strong enough, you'll stand up.
Before I respond, I do what? I talk to you.
Yeah, but what if they've had this conversation? What I'm saying, what if they had the conversation? What if the conversation look there? Look, Will,
you putting stuff there. You're putting stuff there. You gotta look at what actually happened.
Yeah, but at the same time, we wasn't there. So what are we gonna see? We're not going to see the fact that they may have talked about this.
No, you saw it. You saw it play out right in front of you. You can't add nothing to what you saw.
No, we saw the results of it. And all I'm doing
the joke happen. You saw the joke happen.
Yeah, but I've also seen comedians after person make remarks about Jada Pinkett. I've seen it. So we don't know what type of conversation they had.
So can I say something? Jada Pinkett has enough heart and enough mouth to defend herself.
Yes, but that does not speak to the mental capacity of Will Smith.
Well, then Will Smith, it don't. But my thing is, you can't sit back and say he's defending his wife. It had nothing to do with it.
Why wouldn't he
No,
be?
he's not. Because his wife can defend him herself.
Yes,
but that's the own personal stuff.
And that's a problem. And that's a problem within the Black community. We do not rally around each other when shit like this happens.
That's not rallying around. That's making a justification.
That is his wife.
You're saying that no, she wasn't
First of all,
defenseless.
that's his wife.
She wasn't defenseless, and she wasn't in a
But
position where
that's
she
still
was
his
defenseless.
wife, though. That's still his wife.
Yes.
That's still his wife.
And
He has every right to
is
feel
that
like
his
he has
wife,
to defend her.
and he could, and he could have easily said, stop talking about my wife. He could have said, don't say, no, he didn't.
He said, keep his fucking name out your mouth.
After the fact. After the fact.
Oh, sometimes things don't go in the right order.
No.
He was quiet.
So what
He
happened
stood
on
there.
P-Valley?
He stood there beside her when Laverne Cox was being slick out her mouth. He stood there. He didn't say anything.
And Jada could have said something.
He could have. But
And
you're putting Jada Pinkett's sensibility on Will Smith. Jada Pinkett you know what Jada Pinkett gonna do? Jada Pinkett gonna absorb that, and she gonna make ratings on her fucking Red Table Talk and make it a topic. That's not how Will Smith handles things.
Well, and that may not be the case, but you got to deal with the consequences of how you handle stuff.
And I think he is. I don't think he's not going to take responsibility. I think the rest of us are going to fall in line, and where the chips fall, that's where we go lie. But I still think a little bit more grace needs to be given to Will Smith. The same grace. If the tables were turned, I would want the same grace to be given to Chris Rock. And I'm just saying, like, just do better with each other. No matter what side of this you're on, do better with each other.
I agree. I think so.
Just do better on both sides, because we can't keep seeing this play out this way. Every single time this is a solution.
What you saying?
I said every single time this is, even on Will Smith's side, we got to stop putting our hands on each other. But we also got to stop running our mouths and not thinking somebody will check your ass one day.
So, and that's fine. My thing is that I think if you're the type of person where you can't take somebody running their mouth to you, you got to work on it. Right. Just like, so that means you have to do some self-work, because you can't go around here slapping the shit out of everybody thinking that someone won't slap your ass back. And they don't necessarily.
But again, I can see if we had
and they don't have to slap you physically. They don't have to slap you physically. And the funny thing about it, and that's what I'm seeing play out, is that he didn't hit him physically, but he hit him where it fucking hurts.
Yeah.
I don't know if that even equates to anything either, because this is one slap out of this man's whole entire career. And to say somebody needs self-work over this one slap, I don't know if that makes sense. Because it was a build-up. Anybody will have a build-up. That's why all these people snapping and killing people at these schools. It's a build-up of something in their lives.
But see, you're not taking into what I'm saying though is, even though you're saying that, for the individuals that was in the audience who did respond, you don't know what trauma that triggered for them.
So, I have to understand. So listen to me. So answer this question, Bleu. So answer this question.
I don't know how anybody's supposed to be responsible for everybody sitting 3 feet back.
So I have to take into consideration how everybody else who witnessed this felt, but nobody has to take into consideration how many times I sit and I didn't say anything.
Right.
It don't matter.
I don't get that dynamic.
But why doesn't it matter? That's that point right there that Nate's making. How come it doesn't matter? That's the point Nate's making. Why doesn't it matter?
Their own personal shit.
Money, I think I need for you to raise your hand.
But that's the point Nate's making, is why doesn't it matter? Why doesn't it matter?
Matters.
No, because the fact is that
because in essence, it was just a joke. But maybe it wasn't just a joke to Will Smith.
It was.
But what if it wasn't just a joke? What if it wasn't just a joke to Will Smith?
It might not have been just a joke to you, and you personalized it. But that was not his duty. So you don't like the joke. You don't like the joke. If you don't like the joke, you can say, I don't like the joke. I didn't think it was funny. But that is not a justification to say, my wife don't like the joke, so I have to slap you in your face.
So let me just explain this to you.
I really would like to hear about P-Valley.
You and your boo, well, our boo, You and our boo are walking down Fremont and somebody say something slick to our boo. Bleu, you are not the person that's gonna say, let's just keep walking.
No, my thing is this. I'm going to wait. No, if I feel like I need to say something, I will say something. But you know who I'm taking my cue off of? My boo.
Exactly.
Our boo, first of all. Boo.
But exactly.
But what I'm saying is that her response was not go up there and slap him.
But sometimes, even if that wasn't her cue, even if she didn't give him a cue, which I don't think she did.
The whole thing is this.
We're still negating what's going on with Will. That's not an excuse for his behavior. But you are eliminating all. And I can only go back to that Laverne Cox moment because you can 45 see, minutes. You can see his face in that Laverne Cox moment. Like, if I do this bitch, I'm going to be put under the jail.
You know what? And my thing is this. The narrative would have been, after they turned the cameras off, Bleu said, bitch, don't you ever come on that motherfucker and say no shit like that ever again. Because the next time...
That's how you would have handled
it. That's how I would have done it.
On somebody else, though. You can't put that on because your mental capacity is different from Will Smith.
What I'm saying is that for me to be in a position that I am in, and for me to be under the public scrutiny and eye that I am in, I know that this is how I would handle it. Because I know that whatever I do, they're going to construe it. So for me to do something that's going to compromise my family, I don't think he thought that out. And so that's what, but he should have. He should have. He should have
taken into consideration a lot of things. But he had just given an interview not too long ago where he
but
had
like I said,
of him
he also didn't know how it was going to be perceived after the fact.
I don't think he would have did this if he thought he would be in this moment right now.
No,
I don't think he would have knowingly did.
And I tell you that on for a reason that it's still split down the middle. It's still split down the middle. It's still split down the middle on how reactions have
completely transparent. I absolutely am a Will Smith. So for me to be saying what I'm saying,
that's what the fuck I'm saying. Like, this sounds right to me. Real fucking straight.
No, I am an absolute Will Smith. But I also know
I actually think all three of us are in the position where we can say that we are the Will Smiths.
But all three of us. I can honestly say that in being a Will Smith personality, I can see that that's how you jam yourself up more.
Yeah.
It's a lesson learned. I mean, this is a lesson learned that now he knows that he has to change the way he's going to approach things in the future.
I don't want to fight. So my thing is me knowing that I'm
going to slap you off stage now. From now on, I'll wait till you go backstage and I'll slap you there.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Does that make it better though? Does that make it better? Because
because he's gonna regret it when he's backstage that I slapped you without a whole bunch of eyes watching.
Yes.
I just want us.
I beat this shit out you in the bathroom.
But ultimately, we said one more topic, and I want to at least address that one. But at the end of the day, I just want us to treat each other better and give each other the benefit of the doubt. Every joke ain't funny. You know, you could have did the joke in your stand-up when he was miles and miles away from you and he couldn't slap the shit out.
You don't go to a comedy show.
We got to stop playing with each other and think, because these white people are around.
I think what happens is, and this is me, comedians, their duty is to take shit that we think is ugly and make it funny. They're going to talk about shit that is sensitive, and I think that we have a hypersensitive society. When I was growing up, we cracked on each other. They cracked on you for being black, broke, dusty, dirty, ugly, all sorts of stuff. And it hurt your feelings, but it toughened you up. You learn how to crack back. My thing is that means, at a comedy show,
he wasn't at a comedy show.
But before you even finish your statement, but he's a comedian, and that's what his.
But let me finish the statement. Will came that night to win an award.
And Will's not a comedian. Will's an actor.
And he didn't come as a participant or a ticket buyer to a comedy show.
And
It
Will,
doesn't
but
make
like I said,
the host
Will
of a
was never
show.
a comedian. Will was an actor that played in a comedy show.
Yeah,
He
but what
wasn't
I'm
a
saying
comedian.
is that
But
Chris
he
Rock was
wasn't
a
even the
comedian.
host. But he wasn't even the host. He was the person that came on to usher on Questlove's award, the award that Questlove. That's what his job was. It was three other women that were the host of the show. You came on as an announcer. That now they asked comedians to do that so they can keep the laughter going because you're sitting there for fucking 3 hours. But at the same time, a little grace means, look, Laverne Cox is embarrassed their ass at the last show. You all know about it. Let's not act like they didn't know that it happened because it played over and over again up until this show. So you know what? As somebody who knows them, I'm gonna give him grace in this moment. I'm gonna say something pleasant. I'm glad to see. I'm glad everybody give Will Smith and Jada Pinkett a round of applause. They should have been here sooner. I would have appreciated him saying some shit like that. Versus, it wasn't even about Jada Pinkett. See, they digging and digging and digging. This not even.
It wasn't even Jada's
Jada
moment,
Pinkett.
but she was the target. It wasn't her moment. She wasn't there
As
for
they clearly
anything but to
said.
support her husband.
I mean, he did a joke, and it didn't go over well. He
And
called
now
the
we're
crew.
gonna talk about P Valley. Go.
Yeah, because this, I feel some kind of way about this. I'm gonna give you his book. I'm gonna give you his book where
I don't need to see his fucking book because I don't need to know his backstory.
No, but I think you would appreciate the way he did.
I don't fucking appreciate shit. I don't want to see. No, I'm joking. No.
You would appreciate, anybody that's listening, I really would say to you, read the book. It's not going to make you look at him any differently, but it's going to make you connect with him differently in terms of this situation right here. I just say read it. And a lot of it is going to be a lot of our own experiences playing out in somebody's lives who we think is perfect. And you're going to realize just how imperfect this perfect person has been. We got a little bit there.
He was perfect.
You learned a lot about him in this moment and how he handles things.
That was never the narrative for me. I never thought he was perfect.
Well, a lot of people did.
Well, what was that?
Well, with them. See what happens when you put people on pedestals. They show you that they're real people. But to the next topic, P Valley.
What about
it? These shows, specifically black shows, and the fact that we have all these different streaming networks. Sidebar, let's give Miss Monique a round of fucking applause. This is how you get your point across. This is how you get your point. And if you're consistent in your messaging, shit will change. And I think this will usher in change. Now, is it going to cost the people who pay Netflix a couple dollars, a couple more dollars? Yes. You're going to pay for this fucking lawsuit. You're going to pay for the fact that she won and they paid out to her and now they got her on 2 different shows. So they only got to pay this bitch 3 times. So we're going to definitely pay for this shit. Thank you, Monique, for the new fee for Netflix. But the fact that all these new networks are out is giving black storytellers, black actors, black producers, black directors an option to be able to tell real stories. Now, P Valley jumped out the gates with storylines and imagery and character choices and actor choices, meaning they hired on people who did not look like what the standard for actors were. I have to applaud them, even though they're in litigation right now because the story, I think they had to pay out or they settled. Ms. Katori Hall and the production of this team had to pay out another person. I'm not gonna mention their name right now until I find out a little bit more, but they had to pay out because this storyline actually was in a play form from another person's play. And if you don't know, P Valley was actually a stage play before it became an actual TV series. And the young man who plays Uncle Clifford was actually the Uncle Clifford in that one as well. And this was really a homage to stage and something being transferred to stage and how it seamlessly was able to be carried over with the storylines. Act 1 fucked us up. Act 1, meaning season 1, it fucked us up. I think we had not seen these types of people on stage. We had seen strippers, we had seen gay men, we had seen strong Black women characters, we had seen Black men be, caught in a struggle in life. DL, we've seen all these things in parts, the Noah's Arcs of it all, but we had never seen this shit put together. And being able, the storylines are impeccable. The character choices, like I said, the actor choices, the direction, impeccable. Even the dancing bitches off the chain. These bitches is really climbing up them poles and really death dropping on a split. So I have nothing bad to say about it. Act 2, season 2. If you wasn't fucked up over Act 1. Act 2 is definitely, and I keep saying act, but season 2. You will be, if the little phone sex scene between the dude and the little light-skinned chick didn't mess you up, if Laura murder going down on Uncle Clifford didn't mess you up, if such and such and such. Season 2, it got the straight people really pissed off because there's nothing they can complain about. It's not Tyler Perry-esque. It's not some High School Musical. It is done well.
It's reality.
It's reality for so many different people. And I think a lot of these people, the Boosies of them all, are really finding themselves in these characters, and it's fucking with people on a way that they wasn't ready or prepared for. And I picked this the night, and I specifically asked Bleu, aka Baltimore's Uncle Clifford, to come on and join us. to join us. Not that you put him on the center, but to join us because I wanted your perspective on simply why are people so mad? There are just as many people that's applauding it, but for you and Monny, why do you feel people are so mad?
I think the character of Uncle Clifford is, I think that it's bringing to light a reality of feminine gay men. For me. And the reality for me is that it takes a lot of courage to be an Uncle Clifford. And I think in this show, it shows that, and also that Uncle Clifford isn't afraid of femininity. He's in a club where it is almost stereotypically perceived that effeminate gay men have an issue with females. They have an issue with female sexuality. And in this situation, I don't believe that's the case. I think in this situation, he aligns himself. He is their protector. He is, we look at it as a strip club, but he looks at it, for me, this is just my way of interpreting it, as a safe haven for these individuals. This
almost
is their
like a house, like a gay house.
Their home.
And it goes beyond that. That's his family's legacy.
And it is. It's his family's legacy.
That's home for him.
That is. But the thing is, I think that it wasn't, I don't believe, and I may have to look at, I don't believe it was always a strip club.
No, it was a speakeasy. It was a lounge. Over the decades, it changed.
It evolved. As times changed, it evolved as well. So I think that for him, but it's always for him, it has been a safe haven. And I think he's opened it up to these women that he's created this. He's able to capitalize off of their sexuality. And in this season, even him, he gets on the stage, he dances, he performs as well. But I think that the reason people are uncomfortable is it captures effeminate gay men in a light where they're usually not. They're usually in a submissive in the background. They're usually the what is it?
Comic relief.
And they're the jester, we're the fashionistas, but we're the individuals that people poke fun at.
He would typically be the person in the back doing their hair and shit.
Right. And so in this,
you put him out front.
Narrative that is actually really calming. And I think that
word again.
Narrative.
Word again. The narrative.
The narrative.
Yeah. I
It's
think
not a
that
bad word. I think you made it a bad word.
I didn't make it a bad word.
I
I
just
think
say in general. I think the word has been co-opted to something negative.
again, I believe that when you look at, if you look at experiences with effeminate gay men,
Mm-hmm.
you would hear people's story of effeminate gay men, and you would hear their stories of themselves and their experiences. You would hear that a lot of times they are seen in a negative light,
Right.
and they're seen in a position where they are strong, they're courageous, they're seen as being true and transparent to themselves. They're being honest, and that it's not about a choice, it's about a choice of being. You get what I'm saying? And I think that
Right.
that's the Uncle Clifford, that character, it inspires. And I think that, for him to get up and do what it, I mean, you got to think, he goes up into a club. There are men there to see females, and he owns, this is his club. This is his place.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that the reason why individuals are upset, both heterosexual and gay, and individuals of the LGBTQ community, is because it puts effeminate men in a position of power, and they're not seeing them in that light. They're not used to seeing them as strong individuals for being themselves.
Right. What about you, Monny? Why do you think people are mad? As he swings his Molly braids.
That is a great question. I mean, I haven't seen season 2 yet, so I'm still on the outs on season 2. So I can only go off of season 1. I didn't hear the kind of
I'm
controversy about
suggesting that
season
you
1.
binge watch it.
I'm gonna do it
Day
this
that you
weekend
just
because I have
chilling.
time now.
Yeah, day that you just chilling, get your snacks, don't get up.
Mm-hmm.
Just watch it through.
I'm gonna start tonight. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start after this show.
I'm gonna be able to go through it because it's that good.
And tell me when you start watching it, because I'm gonna expect a live in maybe like 4 or 5 hours.
Because the reason why I haven't watched season 2 is because I'm not into episodic television anymore. Waiting week after week for a show to come out.
It's about 7 episodes out though. But see what they're doing. See what a lot of the shows are doing now. They'll release a number of episodes.
It's finished now. The season is done, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now I can watch it all.
No, it's a couple more episodes, I believe. It's a couple more episodes.
Sharon going to say, hang up if you have not started season 2. I wasn't brought on here just for this, Sharon.
Right. So we're not giving spoilers, but like one of the things that you mentioned, the effeminate character. And I have an issue with not necessarily the word, but how that word is used against certain types of men. But in this season, you see layers of you see the gambit. Unlike normally you just see the straight and the gay, but you have an array of men who, in various capacities, are both loving and supportive and protective of each other, of the Uncle Clifford, the Little Murder character, and you see it in a space of what is possible. Without giving too much away, somebody kills somebody over the possibility of one of the characters being exposed in a way that was detrimental to them. And it's a strange thing because those people exist in the world. I've met those people. I've had to be that person. I've never murdered anybody. But I understand what being protective over people means, even when they're not looking. And we see what is possible in a very warped way, very toxic way, what is possible within our community. Chucalissa, Mississippi is like a Baltimore in many different ways. So I see the possibility of how we can relate to each other without having an issue, without knowing each other. And this season, unlike the first season, it really stunned me at some of the storylines, even on the side of the women that are involved in this. It is very, it's an emotional journey because things are so jarring. you see things that you're not expecting to see. And it's very jarring. That's all I can say is very jarring. And normally that word is disturbing, but in this, it is so shocking to me that we are in a space where we can see this.
I think for somebody that actually has experienced it, it's not as shocking. It wasn't shocking to me. Right. It was just that I felt that they had the courage to actually tell a story, because a lot of times they water it down because they're too afraid to. I think they're too afraid of the backlash that they'll receive. Yeah. And it's the courage and the confidence of the story writers and of this, because I think that they took a chance on, and I think it's really, I mean, it speaks to their integrity. It speaks to them telling the story from a very real space, because everything that I saw, I've seen, I've actually experienced. So it was like, okay, I'm glad that they're actually telling a real story and not watering it down or not making it cheesy or campy or any of those things, because I think that that's what
raunchy, because it could really. It borderline. It doesn't even borderline on raunchiness, but it could definitely get to that space.
I think more people are uncomfortable with intimacy, and especially intimacy. And I don't even think it's just because it's intimacy between same gender. I just think that we're in an environment where we don't really we can show sex, but we can't show intimacy. And I think that what we're seeing in these characters is there's a degree of intimacy there that makes individuals uncomfortable. Are so superficial, we stay to the surface. We don't go beyond it. And I think what we're seeing in the storytelling is that there is a degree of intimacy there that makes everyone uncomfortable, because they are aware of it and they've experienced it. And it's kind of like, it's making everyone naked, and people are uncomfortable with being naked because they're forced to see themselves.
One of my favorite lines from this season so far has been between Little Murder and Uncle Clifford. And Little Murder asks Uncle Clifford,
"A little homicide," as Sharon says. Little homicide.
Oh no, that was hilarious to me. But one of the lines were, Little Murder asks Uncle Clifford, "What are you?" Meaning, I took that as, how do you define yourself? And I recall asking that question to a person and them not being comfortable with themselves, getting totally bent out of shape because they weren't ready to address it. And Uncle Clifford's response to that is, well, what are you? And Little Murder's response is, I am somebody who the world won't allow me to be. And in that moment, that was that dialogue back and forth. I need to put that on a shirt and a billboard. It needs to be put on a billboard. It needs to be put on the side of every skyscraper, because people are in a space right now where they're being things, whether it be on social media, in music videos, on TV, in real life, in the boardroom, in the bedroom. You know, they're being things that society is expecting them to be, and not being things that life or community won't allow you to be.
I think that people define masculinity based off of their own measurements, their barometer. I think that Uncle Clifford is a strong man. I think that what people get hung up on is his method of expression. And I think
what his appearance is.
To me is, okay, so I have a head wrap on and I have earrings. That has nothing to do with me wanting to be a female. That has everything to do with the fact that I wanted to wear that, and that was my mode of expression for today.
Well, you know what? Pause. For the next time you come on my fucking show, they better be my earrings. Go ahead, continue.
These aren't yours?
No, they're not.
Oh, well, I've worn yours several times, but I have so many of your stuff. So
I'm just saying.
Bracelet on though, so I mean.
Well, we don't see that. We don't see that thick ass arm. I just see your ears.
Well, at least you know. Well, let me tell you something. There's a lot of strength in these arms. I had a lot of Will Smith strength in these arms.
I bet.
But what I'm saying is that I think that when people see individuals such as Uncle Cliff, the assumption is that we want to be female, that we're doing this because we want to be a woman, and that's the furthest from the truth. I do this because,
and you've seen the season.
I've seen everything.
Right. So
I think
you saw it and you see that depiction is thrown out of the window in this situation.
I think for me, I think sometimes putting this on helps me with tapping into my inner confidence. You know, I think that sometimes what happens is that we water ourselves down to blend in with society, and that our light, and we're actually brighter than we're brighter, but we dim it.
So that made you climb somebody back that night you saw the episode?
Yeah, I did, and there's nothing wrong with that. There was nothing wrong with that.
It's already the parental advisory is already up there, Monty. You don't have to put it back up.
Sharon asks, are you coming to Nate's show, Bleu?
I am coming to Nate's show.
Yes,
As Miss Kitty. You got to come as Miss Kitty.
But I'm always Miss Kitty. So
no, we need to see the Miss Kitty. Like the Miss Kitty.
I'm always Blue Waters is Miss Kitty. I am always the cat couture. Every day.
What I'm saying is I don't want to see none of them fucking button ups. We don't want to see a button up.
I'm wearing a button up.
No. If it don't have a bustier over top of it, we don't want to see it.
I'm wearing a button up. That's who I'm going to be. Just because something, and I'm gonna have an extra small tie on. So it's going to be a button.
Extra small.
I cannot. I refuse. But it just in watching this season, even watching both seasons so far, it really I am glad that there's a space for people like all of us to be represented. And that's the problem that I think that people are missing. There isn't, I think there's a white gay agenda, but I don't think that there's a gay agenda in general. People just want to be represented. So when you feeling like they taking over or they're trying to induce our children, first of all, your children shouldn't be watching P-Valley. That's for starters. If you're a good parent, your child would not be watching P-Valley with you present or with your knowledge.
I think I think the reason why people are uncomfortable, first of all, just the United States in general, our society is just uncomfortable with conversations about sexuality, sex and sexuality in general. And I also believe that the individual I think that I want to be careful, even if it's a negative response to the show, there is a response, which means that there is conversations about it. And I think
that needs to happen.
And I think that what happens is I think we should start to build on those conversations. Now, having the maturity to have it with individuals, say for instance, a straight man having a conversation. I've had a lot of conversations with straight men as a result of P-Valley, because there's a lot of, and many of them are okay with the female shaking their ass because, you know what, they've always objectified females. So a woman dancing for me, a woman shaking her ass for me.
That's normal.
Pleasing to me. But I don't need to know the backstory about the other stuff because now I'm uncomfortable. And I think that this is a good opportunity for even females to say, look, you know, because the story about the colorism in the show, absolutely fucking amazing. You know what I mean? The racism in the show, the religious. You know, there's a part of that where they're talking about the church and its impact. You know, abortion. It's so many.
It's domestic violence. In this season, you see a big emphasis on domestic violence, on consent.
Even like, you know, the African spirituality where it comes into play, where the grandmother Ernestine and the club and the events that happen in the club. There's so many stories. There's so many things that they're talking about, and it inspires conversation. And what happens is that even though they may come to the table with an opinion that is negative, I think what people will walk away with is a little bit more enlightenment. And that's the good thing about a good story. And I feel as though P-Valley they're hitting the mark with that.
But even beyond enlightenment, because sometimes you got to go through the muck and mire to get to enlightenment. But just the fact that a lot of these questions, or people are learning something in order to ask a question. Because I'm from a space where you gotta learn some shit in order to question it, or you have to allow yourself to be presented with information, and then you can question it, not question it before you even know anything. And I think the fact that is, because I'm starting to, even the negative comments, like you said, online, it means that people are watching.
Right.
And well, I have to take that back, because not everybody is watching. People are watching clips, or they're hearing other people's conversation and join it in. Watch it for yourself. And don't watch it like you're about to watch porn, but watch it like you're watching a story. Any other TV show. Stop watching stuff because you're going to see titties and ass.
But I think that what happens is that speaks to a lot of other things, a lot of unresolved stuff that individuals are working through. I think that for a lot of individuals, when they see things like that, it takes them to an uncomfortable place within themselves, and they got to work through it, and they have to unpack some stuff. I do believe that with this story, and for me, I think that having an opportunity to talk about intimacy, to have it play out the way that it's being played out. I think the actors are absolutely phenomenal. I think the person that plays, the individual that plays Little Murder, I think he's an extraordinary actor. I think that the young lady that plays Mercedes, I think they're all extraordinary actors, because
when people comment on TV, films, and theater and such, this is what people are fighting for, the ability to be able to play characters. We have to stop realism, the idea of what realism is. We have to allow things to feel real and have gut instincts to it, but actors just want to be able to play a character. And the same way we let this self-proclaimed straight man play this gay character, we have to suspend our belief and allow the exact opposite to happen in certain situations. And that's my takeaway from this, in addition to everything else. But the idea that the actors are supposed to play things that aren't naturally them all the time. And allow that to happen.
But the fact that they're able to convey a story that makes you think that you walk away and you believe it, that speaks to their talent, their artistry. And I think that that's something that, to me, I've been looking for that for a long time, because I think that we've moved away from that. And I think it really it's refreshing to see.
The powers that be are realizing that real people want to see themselves depicted on screen. And maybe network TV hasn't gotten to that point yet, or even the mainstream and at large has not understood that yet. But we have to force the issue of letting real people show themselves. I always go back to interviews that I've seen from Whoopi Goldberg, and she talks about we never really see her in loving situations, because they always felt that she would not be seen as a love interest. I want us to go, and I'm speaking to us right now. I'm speaking to the Tyler Perrys of the world. I'm speaking to, the colorists of the world, the ages of the world, Black people in general that fit into those categories. Real life people. There are just as many people that find me sexy as that will find a Will Smith sexy, or a Tay Diggs, or a Morris Chestnut. Show the story.
Yeah, and I think that we're seeing that. I think that that's what is really refreshing about this show, is that it's capturing those different.
But it's showing so much, and it does not feel overdone. It doesn't feel crowded or cluttered. it feels like real life scenarios being showcased. And they're showing so many. There's an episode where we're seeing intimacy between two Black men sexually. And on the flip side, we're seeing someone suffer from domestic violence and have to deal with, and then another person dealing with abortion, all in the same sentence. And if it's done so well, and I think the quality of what we're doing needs to be at this caliber, not so the white people or Hollywood can respect us, but so our honest narratives are being showcased. And that's necessary.
And I think that we're also redefining what it means to be Black and gay. I think we're redefining what it means to be Black. I think we're redefining a lot of things, and I think that this show is, even with the dancers and everything. What happened?
No, I was like, I didn't even know you were gay.
Don't even trust it. You should have just kept on going.
I'm not. Me personally, I identify as
Pan.
I identify as a
pansexual.
Frying pan? Is that what you said?
I identify as a middle-aged white woman. Like, no.
But like what you're saying, this representation matters on every aspect of it. And I don't think anybody should feel offended when one demographic is pushing the envelope and pushing their way through. We've seen it with Black people in general. We're seeing it with women. We're seeing it with Hispanics. We're seeing it with Asians. You're going to see it with gay and LGBTQ plus people as well. And you should not feel offended. Nobody is pushing anything, because you can take your remote or your phone and click the shit to the next thing. Nobody is forcing you to watch. Nobody is forcing you to take part. You can't take your eyeballs off of Uncle Clifford mounting somebody's back. You can't take your eyes off of it.
Sorry.
And that's the question you should ask yourself. Why can't I take my eyes off of it?
I can take my eyes off of it. I mean,
right, because when you don't like something, you go to the next thing. We live in a generation where we actually support the things we don't like, and we don't even talk about or bring up the things that we do like. It's a weird space that we're in. And I think more people are intrigued by this relationship. There were a lot of people who were shocked and appalled at Uncle Clifford getting his life in the last couple episodes.
Because I think that they're not seeing them as, again, I think that because it's challenging the story.
The narrative.
Say it again.
The narrative.
It's challenging the one that's already been out about effeminate gay and feminine men. And so the idea is that when and I think that that's a good thing, that we can be seen in different lights. I don't think that it's not an unfactual story. It is a true story. There are a lot of
right. But look at the other. So the other part that I wanted to bring up is the other men that are involved in this love space in some way.
I think what happens is that I think there's a social norm as to a social definition that we Black men subscribe to. And I think that narrative is toxic a lot of times because it puts them in a box. And what happens is that there is a lot of inner conflict when they don't necessarily fit into that box. And so that's a lot of anger and a lot of torment, inner torment within themselves as a result, because they don't actually fit into the definition that has been placed on them. And so when they are acting outside of that definition, then you see a lot of this acting out as a result. That's just the way I observe it. And I think that when you actually see a story such as this, and you see the Uncle Clifford, and then you see the little murders and little Teeks and the other individuals, because even their
The manager.
the manager, you know, there is a degree of intimacy there that you sit back and you say, huh, you know, and I think people are walking away is that it's making them question a lot of the things that they normally would have just passed up. You
So
know,
I want to give people's real names. So Uncle Clifford is being played by Nico Anand. The other character, Little Murder, is J. Alfonso Nicholson. And then the characters that we're now talking about are the Woody character that's played by Bertman Williams. That's the manager character. And then I can't find the name of the other guy, the new love interest in the story. I wanted to play with the two of them a little bit. The gentleman that's a friend of Little Murder that gets out, and I can't find his name on this cast. Oh, his name is Zachariah Rogers. He plays Pico. Is that his name? Am I looking about the same person? Yeah, I think he plays Pico. Is it Teek or Pico?
Teek.
Teek. So the character that's played by Teek, Teek, the character, his storyline is, like you said, is a little bit more controversial because it was thrown on us. He becomes the new love interest for, or actually the old love interest, what it seems like, for Little Murder, and that messed people up initially with this season because you first see a love scene between the two of them, a sex scene between the two of them. And it happens in such a, I want to say a real way, because it happens like that in real life, where you don't know the origin of some of these people, and then all of a sudden they hump it. Like in terms of what they're perceived to be. And then the manager character, me and Bleu talked about this the other night. Like I saw him as somebody who I think down the line, they're going to expose his love for Little Murder. That's just my opinion. I think at some point that's going to be exposed. But you're seeing people who, and I think people are mad because it feels like everybody will be gay. Like everybody will get a chance with Uncle Clifford and Little Murder. And that's what it feels like. That's what I perceive people thinking about, because I don't think that's just what it looks like. Because it's just as many straight male characters in this as it is gay characters.
I think, again, I think, and honestly, I believe that there probably are the same. There are just as many females that are uncomfortable with the intimacy between the two men, and I think that a lot of times, I think even without the sex being there, I think their ability to be intimate with one another would make individuals uncomfortable. Fact that it goes beyond this the normal macho, play basketball, superficial, look at women, objectify women type situation. It goes beyond that. And I think that anything when men are seen in an emotional light, they're seen being emotional with one another, that makes individuals uncomfortable, because I don't believe that people believe men can be that way. And they are.
Or should be that way.
Or should be that way. And so I think that this is giving men an opportunity to explore that aspect of themselves. I think we see women, I think women have been given an opportunity where they can step up to the plate and they can show themselves as being, assertive and, in roles where they're a dominant personality, a dominant in a relationship, dominant in society. And I think that men have been placed in a position where they always have to be this way, and they are never seen as being, emotional individuals or sensitive. And I think that this story gives an opportunity for them to capture that aspect
It's done in layers. It's not just the emotional character. The non-emotional. It's done with layers and backstory and just a sense of just it's how it should be done. Not every story should needs to be like a P-Valley, but I think we are now in a space where we need to see layers. You know, we're not two-dimensional or one-dimensional people. We are three-dimensional, sometimes four-dimensional characters. And we have to push the envelope and allow ourselves to be seen in ways that make us uncomfortable. We have to be transparent when things are so truthful or things hurt. And we need to start answering those questions as to why it hurts. Why is Uncle Clifford unacceptable in your eyes, yet a little murder is? You know, why is that? Why does somebody have to shrink to be seen?
I think honestly, the reality is that an Uncle Clifford may be looked at with disdain, but I think he would be accepted more so than a Little Murder, because I think that there is at least they can see Little Murder.
See him coming, yeah.
Right.
But it's that same? But
Uncle Clifford, they can't
both ways though. It's both. So I'm more comfortable with a Little Murder because I don't want to see that shit, but I'm more comfortable with Uncle Clifford because I can see you coming and I can box you into that image. So as we go ahead.
I think honestly, I think the reason why they will probably be uncomfortable with a Little Murder is because a Little Murder will, you start to question those individuals that you will be attracted to, because you could clearly, I think that, you know, that for me, and it's just, I mean, me looking at Little Murder, I could see females being attracted to it. And I could see them questioning themselves as a result, because it's like, okay, you know, here it is, this guy that's attractive, and he clearly is attracted to females, but he has this attraction to Uncle Clifford. And it's an intimate space. It's a very intimate space. And you can see that he wants to be there. And so it's like, you know, I think that individual, when you see him, you see your uncles, you see your brother, you see your cousins, you see, you know, the homie down the street that plays basketball really well. But, you know, you start to question those individuals that you think you know, and you say, but do I know them that well? So I think that makes me uncomfortable, because them is saying this is a, you know what I mean? I think that's what makes them so uncomfortable with that character. Whereas me, when you see me, they don't think that I like females. They see me, they be like, "Oh, that's." That's a drag queen right here. That, you know, we know.
I wouldn't even have thought that about you.
We know you like penis. We could tell. You probably
I saw that. I saw that.
They don't ever think, oh, you know what? You absolutely, you love females. You love the female body. You go ahead. You probably have children. They don't ever mistake and think that I have kids. They don't ever think that.
It confuses people because the button up with the turban and the earrings is just fucking everything up. There's so many different directions you're going in right now. So it is.
First of all, you would tell you something. Let me say something. I am diverse. I can go into. I can put on my dashiki. I can put on my hoochie mama and hoochie daddy shorts and walk up and down the street during the day. Now, I don't advise everybody to do that. You definitely have to have some confidence to do that. And you have
a thick arm, like you said, a thick arm like you got.
Oh my goodness! And
but as we close out, and Monny, I want you to answer the question as well. I'm not gonna say if, because there's definitely going to be a season 3 of P-Valley. How would you like to see the show open up in? And you haven't really seen the show, but we talked about it a little bit. How would you like to see them continue the story in season 3?
Well, one thing for not me.
Your mic is off, Monny. Monny, your mic is off. Your mic is off. He was just gonna keep talking. He got all them damn computer screens in front of me. I don't know which one to click.
I don't. I didn't. Shut up, Nate. Because I haven't watched season 2 yet. You know, a lot of people were saying in the beginning of the season that they weren't following basically with the same story from last season. So I'm guessing that eventually
it was a
they
little
came
bit of
back
a
into
jump.
it.
Right. It was a little bit of a jump because the first season ended as the pandemic was starting, and then they had to jump.
Okay, so they basically made the time frame more present.
Yeah. So
Okay.
what happened in season 1? They ended with it was called Murder Night, where somebody was killed and all the things transpired where the ownership of the club happened and
Right.
the mayor died and all those things happened. So they had to sum up the story in a way, one, because they didn't have some of the characters didn't come back.
Gotcha.
So they had to continue the story from in the pandemic. And so things changed a little bit. So it was a bit of a jump, but they refer back to that last episode.
Okay. I just said, I mean, that's all I want. Just hopefully that it, you know, it remains.
It connects, but it is
continuity.
Yeah, it connects, but it is because they refer back to it so much. So that connects us back to.
I know, because that's the interesting thing is that I'm going to have to watch the last 2 episodes of season 1 and then go into season 2. Because that's why,
So season 2 is the pandemic. It's the whole. They took the route of not ignoring that there was a pandemic.
Okay.
Putting the pandemic in the storyline.
Gotcha. All right. Good. Well, that's my mission.
How would you want them to continue on with season 3?
I gotta watch season 2 before I say that. So that's
okay. Well, Bleu, how would you like to see season 3 jump off?
I think that they need to pick off where they left off with this season. Honestly, I think that the story with Mississippi, and then I want to see that evolve. I want to see I think the backstory, the mom, Mercedes' mom, her relationship, the dad relationship, their familiar relationship that needs to.
And her daughter to see what the decision was.
I do want to see that evolve. I want to see that come out. I want to see Autumn's story. I think that I want to see the backstory because
I'm a little dumb with her. I'm sorry.
But her connection, I think the guy, what is it, Diamonds, the girl that's dating, what is it, what's her name, Body or something like that. There is a connection there. And I want to see that play out. And I think that this is a story that it can go on, and I like that. And it'll still hold me. I won't get bored, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so I think that I would like for them to keep the story evolving. I think that Clifford and I don't want their relationship to become campy. I don't want it to be. I still want that tension there because I think that that's what made it real. Is that there was that conflict with Little Murder and Uncle Clifford because there's this, they both have this, who am I? Because Uncle Clifford still doesn't really define himself. You get what I'm saying? And so I think that speaks to...
He threw it back at him.
Right. So I think that spoke to the fact that he himself is conflicted in who he is. You know what I mean? And so I think that that's a good element to really play on in that storytelling. And I think that they need to keep that tension there. And I also believe that, adding the little T character was really good because that spoke to a lot.
I think like many people, we were waiting to see a three-way, a throuple. We thought the first throuple was going to be seen.
I thought that would have been, I think that would have been, to me, that would have been candy. I think they're having
it would have, I mean, not even that it was acceptable amongst the three of them, but it just naturally was happening. I just was expecting for that to unfold and unravel itself. The last thing for me, I like the way, so Loretta Devine's character is in limbo right now. We don't know what's gonna happen, but the mother of Uncle Clifford as a spirit comes into this. So I like the idea of playing with flashbacks in the spirit world and having them be like spirit guides that we see. I like the supernatural being brought into it. But
somebody said, "Well, y'all bring Ratchet Fridays back with the whole squad, Blue Waters and Nate." So I guess he's talking about Cocktail Social.
Yes.
That's and whoever that
Set a J.
is this person out of the country? Say yes or no, because then I'll know how to respond to this.
Set a J.
That a J?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
So
to the person that I know who this is, Bleu may be coming back soon.
yes. So to answer that question, it is, and then the cocktail social is coming back. I had to take care of some personal stuff and revamp some financial stuff, and also tweak the show because I think that the way me personally, I just believe that I had to revamp it a little bit, but it is definitely coming back. I mean, yes, I did have to do a little. I had to raise some. I had to raise some funds.
I just knew he was going to switch over when I was doing that.
No.
He was exercising his neck muscles.
Yes, and and as you can see.
Oh, I know you better than that. I already said it. I'm not going to do it no more.
So yeah, but yeah, I'm definitely coming back. I went on hiatus, but I'm coming back. Monty knows it.
I do.
Okay, see, the mother knows.
So I mean, I'm really excited. A lot is happening. A lot is transpiring. A lot of change, as we just finished talking about. A lot of change is happening, and I'm embracing it. Typically, I don't do change well, but I'm learning to not go with the flow, but go with the current, and just structure myself and anchor myself so I'm not just flapping out in the wind. A lot of aqua metaphors going on right here, but just realizing just change is happening, and just look out for the artist exchange, look out for Blue Waters and Cocktail Socials, look out for Be Exposed in general, look out for Be Exposed and Talk Lately, because he got ponytails now. His ponytail got hang time now. So anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
We absolutely enjoy you for joining us this evening on the Cocktail Social. I am your host.
This nigga that's gonna steal my shit. I'm sending you a bill.
I'm your host, Bleu Waters. That is my co-host, Mick Couser, from the Artist Exchange.
Everybody try to push me to the back, but my light shines. Like my forehead right now is too shiny. I get it. You want to diminish the light a little bit. I get it. So it don't hurt so much. I got you.
Join us next week at 5 p.m. for another episode of a wonderful.
That nigga gonna be busy. But again, peace out, people. Don't forget to get your tickets to Baltimore Fashion Week, specifically the Off the Rack, but you definitely can come. The show starts on August the 13th with the Impact Award Masquerade Gala. I said that backwards, but get your tickets on the 13th. On the 15th, there's an event, a number of events. So go to the fashionumbrella.org, or you can go to my page, Sharon Nixon page, the shows at Baltimore Fashion Week. Get your ticket. I'm telling you, on the 15th, I've been working very hard. I got a whole stack of shit sitting right here that just came in the mail, and I'm excited. I have to pee right now, so peace out, people. Good night.
Au revoir.
Bleu.